Humor consumers to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm comedian Tracy DeGraff.
And I'm Cathrine, co-host and bestie.
Welcome to the Pod Lab, Cathrine.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing 2 episodes in 1 week. Not that we're dropping them, in 1 week, but we're
recording.
We're getting ahead, as they say.
Because if we don't, we're going to be behind.
Right.
Because we're both going away.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Right.
So you are tuning in, friends, to episode number 227, and we are calling this episode Marriage Maintenance, Laughing Through the Bumps. I like that title.
Yeah, you came up with it.
Sort of. But I think it's, I think that it's truth. Marriage maintenance, you have to maintain it.
And there are bumps.
There are 100% bumps. So we're going to get into it, friends. Before I go into the outline, Cathrine, share with our listeners, especially if there's somebody new that has stumbled upon us, share with them kind of what we're about and how they can get involved.
Somebody new.
Yeah, they've never heard us, and all of a sudden they're like, I have a bumpy marriage. I want to hear what these 2 idiots have to say.
Well, we are 2 best friends, and you are a professional comedian. And when the pandemic started, all shows were shut down, and your manager said you need to do a podcast.
Yes, he did.
And you said to me, "You're doing this with me," and I was like, "Okay."
You just
was
can't
kind
say
of like
no.
Anne on Parks and Rec,
Right?
And you're like Leslie,
right? We call Cathrine in our friend circle. We call her "Can't Say No, Cathrine,"
right?
Because she can't say no.
Yeah. So we just like to have like talks about topics that we think that most women would be interested in.
Yeah, true that.
Maybe some men too. And we have lots of sponsors now.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I think it's a lot. We need more for sure.
Okay, the fact that we have more than 1 or 2 is sort of miraculous. So thank you.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're listening and you would like to sponsor, you can go to tracydegraff.com. That's TRACY. DeGraff is DEGRAAF. And follow the prompts. And most of our contributors give $5 a month. Some give 1 lump sum, and that helps us put this out there.
It does.
Yeah.
So climb aboard.
Yeah.
Toot toot. All right, let me give an overview of what you're going to get out of this episode if you stick with it. For usually we go around 40 some minutes. So hang in there with us. I don't know how long it'll be because we don't know how long we're going to talk, but we'll see. So here are the takeaways. We're going to talk about why bumps in marriage are normal. Totally normal. We're going to describe some common conflicts in long-term relationships and go into, just some of the things that annoy us maybe about our significant other. The second takeaway is why and how humor can be a coping tool in your marriage. Humor diffuses things.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's a fine line, but you do.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
You do have to be careful, but it's certainly, if you can laugh at yourself, that's going to get you far in life. Mm-hmm. So please try to laugh at yourself. And then the third takeaway is marriage maintenance tips. We're going to talk about, just all the things that we've learned. How many years have you been married?
32.
32 years. Mm-hmm. That's a long time. And I've been married 36 years next month.
Yeah.
36.
Yeah. It's a long time.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
Decades.
A lot of experience.
Yeah.
A lot of bumps.
Yeah. Some goosebumps.
Yeah.
Not all. As always, on the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast, we're going to share some scripture with you, so stay tuned for that. And we always have a little call to action at the very end. So, Cathrine, what say you about marriage bumps?
Well, first of all, why we have... our first one, why bumps are normal. Well, because they are, because we're human.
Oh, we are.
And because everybody has issues, hang-ups, pet peeves, which we did a podcast on at some point.
Yeah, we did.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Look that up. And I don't even know if you can get it anymore. It's so far back.
Sometimes I can't find an episode that I'm looking for, and it's buried, and I'm not sure how to, search for it, and then I give up. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't even tried.
They might be there.
Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah, like again, because we are human and we have stuff and we live together because we're talking about marriage, right?
Right.
We're not just talking about,
Not dating.
casual friends and things like that. This is the person you're living with.
Honestly, I think that living with people really, it like pushes the boundaries, and pushes the buttons, I meant to say. It pushes the buttons. Living with someone, I don't care if you love the other person. You and I are best friends.
Mm-hmm.
If we lived together, there would be things.
I just spit.
Why did you laugh so quickly?
I know. It was kind of quick.
If I was
Guilty.
your roommate, Catherine, you would. Jeez. All right, this podcast is over. We're shutting this thing down.
I don't know why that came out so fast.
I do. Because we're different.
Right.
We're different.
Right.
I disgust myself sometimes.
You leave the cabinet doors open.
I do.
That would drive me crazy.
I do. When I'm cooking in the kitchen, if I open a door, it stays open until we're done eating. If I open a drawer, it's open. Like I'm maneuvering in my kitchen with all the doors and drawers open so that I don't, even the refrigerator, I'll leave it open.
Well, I will walk away from it too, but knowing I'm going right back to it. I'm not one of those, like my parents are like they were on top of you, Close it, you're wasting electricity and all the cold air is going to come out. Oh, really?
I remember that too.
Oh, my God. My mom used to stand over the faucet when I was an adult and just get her hand ready there to turn the water off.
See how it's hard living with people. And
yeah.
I will even leave the refrigerator. We have a brand new refrigerator because we redid our kitchen. Our old refrigerator was from the 90s. It didn't have a beeper that would go beep, 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 beep,
right.
beep. Your fridge is open or whatever.
We turned ours off.
Well, I just ignore it. So I'll be in there cooking and the fridge will be beeping.
The misophonia doesn't kick in?
Not really.
Oh. For me, it's like, I can't stand it.
Yeah.
But, with the cabinet doors open,
Yeah.
there's times where if we're relaxing in the living room and I can see that a cabinet door is not closed all the way, even if it's just like a fraction, can't stand it.
You
I
have to
get up
and change it.
Yeah.
Habits. All that to say, we're all a mess, okay? We're all messed up. We all have our things. We have our issues. And living with another human being is disgusting. It's disgusting. It is.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, the human body is disgusting. It is fascinating and disgusting at the same time.
Yeah. Okay.
You've got toenails. You've got ears. You've got noses.
Flaky feet skin. I don't have it, but somebody I know does.
Yeah, you've got all kinds of stuff.
There might be earwax sitting around.
Good Lord. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, have you ever had a roommate other than your husband?
Yeah, my sister.
Okay.
Before we got married.
Before
Kenny
and I
got
Did you have any
married.
bumps with
Yes.
living with her?
Yes. Oh, and not only as adults, we lived together, but when we were younger and shared a room.
Yeah.
So that too.
Same. And I'm sure that our listeners can relate to that because I'm sure if they shared a room with a sibling, it wasn't always, this is great. Do you remember the episode on the Brady Bunch where Jan and Marcia were fighting over the room and they put the tape down the middle of the floor?
Do. Yes.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I remember copying that idea.
Yeah. Yeah. My sister and I shared a room as well and we did not get along. But once we got our own rooms, then, I don't care. She can do her room her way. I do my room my way.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So all that to say, yes, if you're married, living in the same house, you are disgusting. So is your husband or vice versa, whatever. And you're going to have these little things that are going to annoy each other.
That's
bumps.
Exactly right. Yeah. Bumps.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What else about the bumps?
Well, that's it, really.
So they're normal because we're human.
They're just normal. We're going to run into those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are we going to talk about what to do about the bumps? Because, like, what do you do? What do you do about when your husband does something that really annoys you? What does he do when it's vice versa?
I cannot say that we use humor every time, but I do have some, when we get to it, marriage maintenance tips.
Okay.
Okay. But I would say, so I'm going to say Kenny is not bad with, I know that there's a lot of men that leave whiskers in the sink or even toothpaste residues. He doesn't do any of that. If he has socks on the floor, it's not long. He'll pick them up.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't have like those kinds of things. But there, of course,
He's human, right?
He's human. I'm human. He doesn't ever say to me, though, things like, you quit that. Like, I know when I blow my nose in the morning, I annoy myself because it's a lot.
Yeah.
You know? But no, I can't think of anything that I do.
Oh, I can't think of any faults.
Can't. Well, I know I have them.
weaknesses?
No, I know I have them. I just don't know what irritates Kenny because he doesn't tell me.
Okay, this is an interesting perspective then, because I'm curious if men are more hesitant to point things out than women. I wonder about that. Because Ron doesn't tell me that I annoy him either, but I'm sure I do. I've been married a long time. But I tell him, like, oh my gosh, if my poor husband, if we're sitting watching TV and he's drinking water with ice cubes in it.
Oh.
He chews the ice and he sucks on it, and then the ice makes a noise going this way, like when the glass is going from down position to up. It goes clunk, 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 the ice.
Right.
And then he'll suck one into his mouth, and then he'll suck on it for a little bit, and then chew it, and then the ice goes clunk, 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 clunk.
And you
down.
can hear that.
Oh.
Okay. So
That's rough.
Sorry, folks. Kenny, he doesn't really do that. But he's a loud sipper, so we'll get coffee and he goes in the morning.
He's trying not to burn himself.
Well, yes, but I'm trying not to burn myself either, and I don't go.
I know exactly the sound that you're talking about.
Yeah. And I feel bad. He might be listening to this. I don't
Kenny.
know. But and then sometimes he likes to fidget, and he does it in small groups too. Like it could be clicking of the pen, it could be a water bottle, it could be and he likes to take his fingers on the
I think this all stems to misophonia. It really does.
Yeah. Because the problem is with me.
Well, it's a thing. You know what Ron does is he takes his hand and he rubs his thigh.
Yeah.
So it's the very quiet but rhythmic sound of his hand rubbing against the jeans of his thigh. Okay. That sends me through the roof. I don't know why. It's just maddening.
Yeah. I don't know.
And sometimes I just have to go, okay. I almost can't help the look. You know the look.
Oh, do I know the look? Yeah. I almost feel like I created the look.
I try to think in my head, this is the man that you married. This is the man that you had 5 children with. This is the man who put the roof over your head. All that.
And you chose each other.
Yeah. But then
throw it out the window because he rubs his hand on his jeans.
Right, and drinks water.
No
drinking, no breathing,
How
no
dare
eating, no coffee.
Yeah. So what do we do in those moments? Well, I know what you do. I know that you usually, right? You just let it go, or you give him the look. But I don't think you do it too often.
I try my best to not, but I do have a strategy that I think is helpful. I keep a little pair of earphones, like earbuds, next to where we sit, you know? And if something's bothering me, I don't care about the TV or whatever, you know? I just put those earbuds in and I can't hear a thing.
Okay. I do not do that. I just look at him and he knows.
Then he stops.
Yes. Yeah. And then honestly, then he's the one that uses humor and he'll go, oop, you know, or he'll just make a joke of it.
Yeah.
Thank God.
I have to say that being now married more than 3 decades, pushing the 4th decade here. It's been so many years that we've been together that it is so much more fun now to just laugh at stupid stuff like that.
Yeah.
Rather than make a big deal out of it.
Yeah. Right.
So that's a benefit.
Yeah.
Can I talk about the plant?
Absolutely.
Okay. My husband Ron and I got into one of the biggest fights we ever had in all the years that we've been married over a dead plant and a living plant. And this is what happened. This was when I was in menopause. So this was probably 7 years ago, 8 years ago, maybe even longer.
Blame it on menopause.
Well, I was hormonal and emotional and stressed. And Catherine and I at the time, we were making these cute little crafts and things and selling them and doing ministry with the money. I mean, we were doing a good thing. It was almost like a little fun project.
Yeah.
Right? And we had a bush that died in the yard. And I was like, oh, good. The bush died. I'm going to let it dry out fully, and then I'm going to spray paint it. It's going to be white, and I'm going to hang Easter eggs off of it. For this dead bush. And at the time, we lived on 2.5 acres.
Yeah.
So it was a big yard. There was a lot of dead stuff. There was a ditch between my yard and Catherine's yard that we would just toss. Both of us would toss stuff in the ditch, like dead plants or whatever. Well, anyway, there was the dead bush laying alongside of the house. It didn't look like it was going to be a thing, like an Easter tree or something. It just looked dead. Well, Ron tossed it in the garbage.
Yeah, he's cleaning up.
He was cleaning up. He's like, that's dead. It goes in the ditch.
There's no root ball.
Right. It's dead. So he throws it away. And then I had attended an event at our church where I won the centerpiece, and it was this plant. But I didn't like the plant. And so I didn't want the plant. It was alive and beautiful.
Yeah.
I threw it away. So he threw away the dead bush, and I threw away the live bush. And then I had a meltdown because I saw my bush that was in the ditch, that he was throwing away.
The dead bush.
The dead bush. And I was like, you don't even think about me. I was going to use that bush. It was going to be an Easter tree. And my poor husband was like, what in the world is happening?
Yeah.
You're mad at me for throwing away the dead bush, and you threw away a live plant. I don't get it.
At that point, is that when you started to laugh?
Yeah. Because the irony of the insanity of my reaction to his... And it was all my fault because, first of all, I should have said, I'm saving this.
Right.
I didn't do that. I just expected him to know, obviously.
Right.
Duh.
Been married, he should know that you want that dead plant that you've never had
done
before.
Anything with it before. Right. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that goes to, why humor is a coping tool, because it's a connection point. Like when you guys laughed at that point, when that happened, it was a connection point for you both. And it's a way to lighten the mood. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Now, on our notes here, you had put here that Kenny says a little phrase when you tell our audience about that.
Yeah. When and if I correct him on something. Which,
especially like grammar and stuff. It's so funny.
Yeah. And I'll just say, no, it was downhill, or whatever. And he'll say, yeah, that too. Just to kind of just, honestly, it diffuses.
Yeah.
He says it in just like a bobber in the water.
Yeah.
He just moves along and it does make me kind of like smile or kind of just like realize, oh yeah, this is fine.
Most of the time, the things that aggravate us are so minuscule in the grand scheme of life.
Right.
That it's really healthy and fun to make fun of how crazy making we can be with each other.
Yeah.
Over small things.
And just those little things, like when Kenny goes, yeah, that too.
Yeah.
It does diffuse the situation.
Yeah.
Because he's using a little bit of humor And of course, when we say use humor when you're in conflict, we don't mean dark humor or sarcastic humor. It's, gauge the situation too.
Yeah.
But just light humor.
My brother-in-law, Ben,
Mm-hmm.
he used to always say things like, I resemble that remark.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which I don't know why I think that's funny. If somebody would criticize him or make fun of him or something, yeah, I resemble that remark.
Yeah, Christy's stepdad, Doug, says it a lot.
Yeah.
In fact, I picked up from him and Christy using that.
It's helpful to be lighthearted.
Absolutely.
It just helps you to get along with people better, just to kind of don't take yourself so seriously, be so sensitive, kind of grow a little shell around, like a little toughness around you that you can just take it and let it run off your back and keep going.
Yeah, a little bit of self-deprecation,
It's
it's all good. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about marriage maintenance tips. How can we, say somebody's listening and they're like, Tracy and Cathrine, you guys have had, 32 plus years of marriage, not to each other, but to our husbands. Right. Okay, if somebody's listening and they want to hear your best marriage tip, what would you say?
Okay, my best marriage tip would be grace.
Yeah.
Definitely, Kenny has grace with me, and he has grace with me when I'm crabby. I can be irritable, and I've learned to preface things with, if I'm feeling cranky and crabby, I now preface what I'm about to say, whatever it is, I'll say to Kenny, I'm cranky, I'm crabby, and then he knows ahead of time why my behavior is such and such.
Right.
And do I try to then curb my crabbiness? Yeah, but it's difficult when you're in that moment. So between having grace for each other, of course, biting your lip, and also I do think communication is so helpful.
Yeah,
I'll just say, I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm cranky. And that explains ahead of time, my mood and why I'm behaving or acting or even looking the way I might look. So I think that would be, always the umbrella is being in God's grace first. Like if you're both believers, that of course will come. It's my very first advice. But after that, I would say things that I just said.
Yeah,
follow.
I love the little tip of just identifying what you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
If you're fearful, or if you're uncomfortable, or if you're in pain somehow,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's emotional pain, physical pain, mental pain, whatever, to express that.
It's
I'm this.
very helpful
Yeah.
in our situation. And Kenny immediately knows what, not just what's coming, but I think it just helps prepare. And
Yeah.
I think admitting that you are cranky is, I don't know. It's just helpful.
Yeah, it is. I would say my biggest marriage tip to people, and I've actually been asked this question when my husband and I were visiting with my brother and my sister-in-law, Gwen. She had asked me, how many years have you been married? Because we didn't know each other that well, you know, and we were visiting. This was a few years ago. And I told her at that time, whatever it was, 34 years or whatever. And she asked me, she said, what's the secret? And it kind of, we weren't talking about marriage. We were getting ready to play a card game or something. And I just looked at Ron, and then I looked at her, and I just said, forgiveness.
Yep, I was just going to say that too, that you were going to say that. And it is, that too, grace and forgiveness.
Yeah. Forgiveness back and forth.
Yeah.
Every day, because we're idiots.
Every day.
We're just...
Every day.
Yeah.
Speaking of marriage, like compromising, grace, forgiveness, all that, on my way down here, I had intended to be here right on, 4:30, but Kenny got home right before I left, and he saw that I was walking down to your place, and he says to me, "Oh, aren't you going to take the bike I got you?" He got me a bike last month for my birthday, and I do love it. And he was, he's been excited for me to use it, but It's been rainy and windy and cold.
It has.
And my arm is injured, so I shouldn't be gripping it the way I need to grip it. But anyway, so I immediately thought about, oh, it's a marriage thing, it's compromise. It's keeping each other happy. So I told him, and I literally said to him, I love the bike. I just, I don't even know. I just said my arm has been, really bothering me. And he knows that. But I went to go get it. That's the point. I went to go get it out of the garage. I couldn't maneuver it. So then I ended up having to leave it. And I shouted into the window, I can't get the bike out. Just so that he wouldn't see me walking after that. But, all that to say is just a lot of thinking of each other.
It is. It is. And it's acknowledging that. I love it that you did that for your husband because he was very excited about getting that bike for you and he wants you to have it and use it and you want to use it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
What?
I mean, just when you said he was excited to give it to me, he was. He put that thing together right away. He assembled all the stuff and then he had me try it out and I was like, oh, the seat hurts. Boom, he ordered me a new seat. It's humongous, by the way.
Probably feels pretty
But I
kitschy.
forgive him for buying a big ass seat.
You forgive him for your...
But see, when it came and I saw it, it was like, oh my, what a big seat you have. And so it's like humor.
Right.
It alleviates the situation.
It does. It
Yeah.
does.
You know what else it does too? When you use humor, you're taking care of each other.
Yeah.
You do that because you bring in humor into the relationship, and that's good for your health. So you're taking care of each other.
That's one of my favorite things about being married is how much we laugh.
Yeah.
And as we get older, it's getting even more hilarious. I'm sure at some point it'll switch from hilarious to horrifying. But we just laugh hysterically about, I didn't hear you right. What'd you think I said?
Oh my gosh.
That. How many times does that happen?
Oh, it's increasing. I'm actually not laughing about it lately. I wish I was, but
Yeah, that's what I mean. It crosses over from hilarious to horrifying.
it's really bad now, and I'm not laughing.
Yeah. Well, what are some other tips, Cathrine, that you would give to our guests as they're listening?
Well, these aren't really my tips, but I got them off of a I don't know, it's like christianfamily.com, but schedule those tune-ups, like check in with each other, schedule date nights.
Yeah,
and
date night's good.
Yeah, we do try to do that.
Especially if you have kids at home. I think that date night and a scheduled time for mom and dad, even to connect, is so important.
It is. And I agree with that. I would say, too, that we're finding as each day, we don't have kids at home anymore, but each day is so mundane and we fall into the same patterns. So it feels like the need to have a date just as needed as before.
Yeah,
I
because
think that's how I feel.
Well, because you're together a lot more.
Yeah.
But you're not out doing like a fun date thing.
Yeah, it's just mundane day after day. Well, it's comfortable is what it is.
Sure.
I mean, believe me, we could do that all the time, but I just feel like that'd be good for empty nesters too.
Yeah.
So laugh at yourself first, which we talked about that. And I just love, so that's one thing too with Kenny is when he does that Huckleberry Hound, like when he was, I don't know if I've told this on the podcast before, but he was telling us all a story, something about, he meant to say Merry Christmas or something, and it came out Happy Easter, and he laughed at himself so hard that it made all of us laugh.
You couldn't help but laugh because his face was red. It was like
He couldn't even get it out.
he couldn't breathe. It was hard to even
Yeah.
figure out if he was okay.
And
you know?
he was laughing at himself.
Yeah.
That's what was so funny. Another tip is to use inside jokes as glue. So, whatever your inside joke might be, shared laughter, it strengthens your bond.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also, if you have inside jokes, then it takes a while to have inside jokes.
Yeah,
like
it does.
New friends don't have that. Like we have 6 to 12. back and forth. See, you laugh immediately because it takes you right back there.
BB.
See? There she did it. There it is. You're so bad.
Oh, no, I'm not.
So bad.
Okay.
Wait, let me get to my point. The point is...
I thought you were done.
See what happened right there? The inside joke brought Cathrine right back to this funny thing that she and I both know about, but other people don't know about.
Right.
Because they weren't there. That's a special... Right. That's a special friend. It's a special bond. You can't get that overnight. We've been best friends for 25 years or so, whatever it is. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty
exactly.
cool.
Right. And your spouse appreciates that too, you know? And there are certain things, you know, that are just between you and your spouse.
That's fun.
Okay. Here's a really good one. Reframe arguments with humor. Like, say you're in the middle of a conflict. One of you can just say, remember that time we had that issue with the live bush and the dead bush? And, you know, you just bring that up in the moment. And you're steering away from the conflict and the tension. And you're recalling remember that, whatever it is that was funny.
Yeah.
Okay, and lastly, fight fair and joke fairer. So when you're joking, like when you're bringing up that other issue, don't do it in the wrong timing. You've got to gauge that.
Yeah.
Know when humor helps versus when it hurts.
Yeah, because trust me, it's subjective. Humor is not objective at all.
Yeah.
Is totally dependent.
Yeah, you gotta slow your roll sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
very good. Very good. I think date night is really good for all couples. I think that the spending time together, you know, being able to laugh at yourself, have some inside jokes, laugh at each other.
Yeah.
And I genuinely enjoy my husband. Like, I enjoy being with him. I enjoy his company. I enjoy his personality. So it does help if you actually like the person that you're married to.
Well, that's so true. I know. Yeah, Kenny said to me, well, he's been wanting to walk, and like we're both trying to, you know, be healthy.
Sure.
So, I mean, you know, I miss walking with you, but he's like, well, let's do this. So I'm like, okay. But anyway, he's like, yeah, you want to go in the hot tub later? You know, instead of watching TV.
Oh,
and
I didn't know what you were going to say instead of what, Kat? I mean, where is this podcast going? Goodness.
No. Yeah, so anyway.
So you've been walking with Kenny, so that's why you're not walking with me? Is that it? That's funny.
I thought you knew.
No. Now I do. Oh, funny.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Any other tips?
No.
I'm going to give another tip.
Oh, good.
Okay. If you need it, get it in terms of help with counseling.
Oh, for sure.
Or support. So, I mean, what we're talking about is kind of lighthearted stuff and sort of minor issues. But if you have an issue that both just need support with, please go talk to your pastor. Go talk to a counselor. Go get into some therapy.
Yeah, for sure.
And especially if there's something going on, like one of you is grieving the loss of a parent or a loss of a job, or you're having a financial issue or whatever it is. Or how about this? One of the kids has an issue. Go and get some support so that you guys can be a team.
For sure, because that's what you are, is a team.
Yeah. You want to remain that way
right.
for many decades. So please get outside help when you need it.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that.
Me too.
And we've gone to counseling many times over different things. So, in fact, the first time that we went to counseling, I lost my mother when I was 27 years old. Mm-hmm. And we had only been married for a few years, and we had a couple kids, and I was depressed big time.
Yeah.
Just flat.
Yeah.
And it was my pastor who said, you know, I think you would benefit from some grief counseling. And so I got into grief counseling. Ron came with. We didn't click with the first counselor that we went to, so we found another one, and it was great. So I would just encourage everybody, don't be afraid of that.
Yeah.
Invest in it. All right.
Very good.
Anything else on your side?
No.
Okay. Well, let's go to our scripture. The scripture, Catherine has picked this one for today. It's Proverbs 17, verse 22, and it says, "A cheerful heart is good medicine, but crushed spirit dries up the bones."
Well, isn't that telling?
Yeah, and it's true.
It is true.
So,
Yeah.
all right. And the call to action that we have here, Catherine, what are we leaving our friends with?
Well, whatever your next bump is, whatever your next conflict is, try to just reframe it. Use that technique of, hey, remember when we did this, or remember that funny thing? Just kind of redirect.
Yeah.
Reframe, redirect.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, friends, that's some good tips from a couple of chicks who've been married for a long time.
Not to each other.
Whatever. You've been listening to the Life Happens Life Anyway podcast. I'm still comedian Tracy and Cathrine.
I'm still Catherine.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.